Oh yeah, let's go.
So I just finished.
Cooperation.
I just finished the first season of Star Wars Resistance. Have you seen any of that animated series?
I have not. It's based on the sequel series, right?
Yeah, it's like set within the sequel series, and I feel like the problem nobody's seen it. I feel like it's the one that just kind of it's 2 seasons, and I feel like
I
nobody's
saw a couple
seen it.
episodes.
Yeah,
They're short. They're very short. Right?
It starts with them like on this water world, and Poe Dameron puts like a spy down there, and there's a whole like there's these racers who are called like the Flying Aces. That's not really a part of it. It's like they started the series thinking like, oh, it's going to be this Star Wars racer show, and it's just not that. And I feel like about halfway through the first season, it's just like, let's get into this spy plot. And when it does put the Aces fully in the background and make it more of a spy story with the whole like First Order and everything, it's actually really good. And the first season ends in a way that I'm kind of like, well, I don't know where you go from there. So I'm kind of like, you know, we've been slowly watching this, my wife and I, like over the course of the last year or so. And in the last couple episodes of the season, we're like, yeah, let's do this. So now I'm kind of excited about it.
Oh, so I haven't actually done much Star Warsing lately, unfortunately. It's funny, the CEO son of my company keeps asking me every week, have you seen Obi-Wan yet? And I'm like, no. And he's like, how? You have a Star Wars podcast. I've listened to it. How can you not have watched it? Yeah. And I'm like, I was just like, it's too late now. I just got to wait for the last one. Then I can binge it.
Oh, that's true.
Because like, why watch them all and then have to go, oh man, I can't watch it. Welcome to This Endorian Life, a Star Wars podcast from the Radio Meanwhile Network. My name is Steve Rudd.
I'm Nick Gunning, and we're following the Ewoks from Return of the Jedi to the Ewok TV movies, the 80s cartoon, and beyond.
Today we're discussing Season 2, Episode 4A, The Totem Master. This episode originally aired on October 4th, 1986.
That's
we
correct.
were wee little boys. Still.
Yep.
We're always going to be wee little boys.
It stays the same, yep. Today's episode was written by Bob Carew, directed by Dale Schott. It was released on VHS as part of the compilation Wicked's Adventures as he becomes a hero. And our featured cast member today is Rick Cimino. So we've not had kind words to say about old Rick here with his low-grade Chief Chirpa voice. But prior to his work voicing those two characters, he was several characters on The Dukes. The Dukes was an animated spin-off of the long-running series The Dukes of Hazzard. Did you ever watch that?
I don't think I've ever seen the Dukes.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Do you remember, like, midway through The Dukes of Hazzard when Tom Wopat and John Snyder were like, we're not doing this anymore. And so they left and they brought in two other, instead of Bo and Luke, it was Coy and Vance.
Yep.
So
I do remember. I think I saw it at your house.
Yeah,
I think the log cabin is the last time I seen Dukes of Hazzard.
That's right.
Yeah.
And this animated series started when Coy and Vance were like the Dukes of Hazzard. So the first half of the Dukes animated series is with the Coy and Vance actors. So when they finally worked out the deal, Schneider and Wopat came back. So it's like right at this weird juncture. Yeah. And Rick Cimino was just one of the like go-to voices on that show. So
the animated series is flip-flopped of the show, and as far as
it starts with Coy and Vance and then switches. Yeah,
that's so strange.
Which I know, and I feel bad for those Coy. I don't know their names, but the actors who played Coy and Vance. It's like at least let them keep the cartoon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the cartoon show.
Because I feel like if I was a kid watching that show, I'd be like, why are there different Dukes of Hazzards now? Why are these different Dukes? But
yeah,
should we do a Dukes of Hazzard podcast when we finish? After we get through all of the Ewoks, we transition.
True, right? Because the Dukes is for the kids, so the kids are probably like, what the heck? Why all of a sudden is this one episode?
Why are there different people? Yeah.
Like,
what a weird
become an adult
experience.
And you're like, that was why.
Yeah. They're like, Coy and Vance are the real Duke brothers. Forget them. So
can you imagine?
stupid.
We should do a whole
Those
episode
stupid
on it,
80s
right?
kids. Yeah, we should.
Because then that's a true generational rift, right? When we're talking about like the older people, like the original Dukes of Hazzards, and the kids will like Coy and Vance because that's who they
exactly.
Oh, and that's really funny.
I know it is
for another time.
It's blowing
another
my
time.
mind. It's blowing my mind. All right. But not yet. This is not yet a Dukes
Not
of
yet.
Hazzard podcast.
Yes.
So do you want to give us the uber detailed plot for the Totem Master?
Yeah, season 2, episode 4A, the Totem Master. While the young Ewoks are harvesting dangleberries, a stranger appears and asks the young Ewoks for a drink. It's still, even though I read it correctly, it still comes out. It just sounds bad.
It does. Well, and it looks
because
like they're milking
like
a
milk
cow.
them too.
They're gross. The dangleberries are gross.
Yeah,
Let's just get it out there.
All around.
I don't want to drink anything coming out of those dangleberries, okay?
I don't know where the vines come from. They're just off screen.
That's right.
You just have to trust that there's
right.
more dangleberries.
That's right. Yeah, it's a dangerous game.
They kindly offer some dangleberry juice, and in return, the stranger offers them a gift, a large totem that he claims will help protect their village from the forces of evil.
Yes.
Nisa is skeptical, but Wicket is eager to accept the gift and does. That night, the creatures on the totem come alive and ransack the Ewok village. Debo tries to stop them, but is unfortunately turned into one of the totem creatures, destined to steal from the next town. The next morning, the village is in an uproar, so Wicket, Nisa, and Latara head out to find the stranger and Tebow. Confronting the Totem Master, Latara is also captured. Before the stranger escapes, Wicket and Nisa manage to stow away on his cart. The stranger attempts to deceive another village and is fooled by Wicket and Latara, who disguise themselves on top of his own totem. That night, when the stranger tries to release the totem thieves, Wicket and Latara attack. While trying to capture the Totem Master's ring, the source of his magic powers, they also must evade capture from the totem creatures. Evil Tebow and evil Latara capture them, but before the stranger can turn them into totem creatures, Wicket picks up a mirror and deflects the Totem Master's magic back into himself, breaking the spell. The village celebrates as the little ones have returned safe along with all of their belongings, but not after Tebow accidentally spills it all out of the wagon.
Oh.
Roll credits. Yeah, I know, right? Just had to add that little spill there at the end, you know.
Does the does the stranger ever have a name? I don't remember him having a name.
No, they never. He's just some guy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think they say his name. I don't think they say, oh, he's the Totem Master.
I thought the design actually had kind of a Star Wars-y vibe. Like the big, the tails and stuff and like the eyes and everything. It did feel a little bit like a Star Wars creature, which was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little...
Did you notice that the episode started out once again with our little treetop, trumpet-mouthed
yes, I did.
Flying squirrels again? That seems to be like a common theme now that they have those in there. Yeah.
I was a little concerned that, like, I thought they were going to do sort of like a Native American stereotype with him based on his wardrobe has a little bit of that vibe, just like the stripe in the jacket and everything. And his wagon does look a little reminiscent of teepees, but they never did that, which I didn't notice that. Which I was glad they didn't do it. And like Star Wars is, especially older Star Wars is not great about representation with that kind of thing. So I kind of thought maybe we were going to have an awkward, like,
you were going to be like,
dated cultural
we're gonna have to bring
stereotype,
this up.
But we really didn't. And I thought, like, his
funny.
design
I got
decent.
His design was good. I think you're right, and I didn't get the Native American aspect of it. By the totems, I did.
Yeah, well, sure, yeah.
I was just like, oh yeah, that's very Native American. But like, I thought he looked wizardy.
Yeah,
like from Lord of the Rings almost, kind of. But like, it fit with the whole, like, it fit like a Logray type character. He was more of like a humanoid. So I was just like, oh, if I believe in who Logray is, I have to believe in who this guy is too.
Yeah.
And so I didn't actually realize the makeup of the cart it did apparently hold a lot more than it should have.
Yeah, right.
I mean, if it held like the entire village, so he's like, oh, let's go. And then I thought, what? It's a little small of a cart to fit everything in there.
Honestly, it's a good plan. That was the thing that impressed me about this episode. The
yes.
whole like, oh, I'm going to give you this as a gift, and then it comes to life when you take it into your village. I mean, it's clever. It's a good idea.
I did think it was a little strange, though, that he does have to activate it. So it's almost just like...
Right.
he still has to be in their village
That's
to
true.
get it going, which is
Yeah,
like
which I didn't get because
almost.
the first time you see that, you see the pole and you see the different creatures on it, and you see a red beam come from off camera, and I was like, well,
It's off camera.
where did
Yep.
the red beam come from? But then he is right there, so you're right. Like, what was the point if they're just
It's
gonna
like
sneak in?
Yeah, it's like the Trojan horse, except they put a lock on the outside, and they're like,
yes,
crap. Can we just get in there and just unlock that real quick?
Yep.
You know, before. Okay, cool.
Exactly.
Thanks.
All right.
Appreciate
All
it,
right.
you know?
Good night. Have a good night. Have a great night. Great night. I also thought that when Tebow gets captured and is added to the pole, and we see him in like sort of look like a carving.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool moment too.
Yep, that was true. Like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Oh crap. Because then, like, all of a sudden, he got Latara, and it was very, very easy. So it was just like, man, they're dropping like flies again.
I know.
You know,
So
that was good.
Logray, they're like, oh, is the Sunstar okay? And I was like, cool. We haven't got a shout out for the Sunstar since like the last Morag episode, right? I don't think we have since that Morag episode.
It was funny when he was like, "No, I have it still," and it's like I can just imagine him being like, "Yes, it was secured safely in my underpants all night," you know, like just like something weird, like where was it if they didn't get that? Like, come on, man.
He's got a good place. The bug from the bug of the creatures looked like the cootie from the old cootie game, you know?
Oh, it did.
Looked just like it.
Right.
Looked just like it. Yeah.
I did wonder where that one. I had looked away for a second when it came alive.
Yeah.
When that one came alive.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's weird. I didn't notice it on the totem.
Yeah.
Because it was much larger. That one grew in size, while the rest of them just kind of stayed the same size. And then when it shrunk back, I realized, oh, those circles, like the Cooties game, and book, became flat. Right. So I was like, oh, okay, that's it. You know, like that one threw me for a loop. I was like, I agree. Giant long caterpillar.
I thought it was kind of interesting that like the magic angle of it, like when Wicket turns it around on him, and he's so essentially like Wicket becomes the master, and it breaks the spell on all the other people that he had used the spell on. So I thought that was cool. I thought it was like super dark though when the ring falls off his finger and shatters, because he's just trapped like that forever. Not unlike all the glass creatures in the first episode of this season. Just
exactly.
It's kind of a dark way to go, but Ewoks, what are you gonna do?
Right. So he's just gonna be. What are they gonna do? Are they gonna put him up in town, like in the middle of town, like or like at the outskirts of town? Like, you all be warned, this will happen to you.
I don't want to get my hopes up, but like I liked the Rach last time. And I liked this one too. I thought it was a pretty good episode.
Yeah, I thought this one was, this one was decent.
Yeah.
I kind of was like, oh, I feel like I should have been more frustrated with this.
Yeah, no, it was good.
It was like at the end, I was like, oh.
I watched this one with my son, and usually when it's over, he's like ready. He's like, okay, all right, let's do something else. But when I stopped it, because as episode 4B started playing, I stopped it. And he was like, wait, no, can't we watch the other story too? And I was like, oh, okay, so I guess you like this one.
Oh,
so, yeah.
There you go.
So, no, who knows? Who knows? Maybe they're finding their footing. I don't know. Like I said, don't want to get my hopes up. But I've liked 2 episodes in a row now, so pretty good.
Well, it's funny, like, being turned into a totem is, like, to a kid, like, ooh, that's a pretty compelling thing, where us, it's just like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of cool.
Like they get the red eyes, and I think it's always creepy.
Yeah. Oh,
when Tebow was like going after them with the red eyes, kind of a zombie vibe, So that's why I wrote creepy. Evil Tebow.
That
would have been creepy.
Evil because they definitely were like, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about some of the things that we don't like. What was your Oak of Arc moment?
So mine was just the Trojan horse aspect of it. I was kind of like, that's very Trojan horsey. But, I did realize that,
it doesn't actually work, because he has to be present with it, too.
Yeah. True. Yeah, it's just like, I'll just rewrite it. But you actually rewrote it that it doesn't work. But, I don't know. In this one, I didn't feel like Wicket really was a hero. I felt like Princess Nisa was when she was using her lasso with the hook. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah,
I was like, oh man, like she's got some sweet skills, like, oh, she messed up first and then she did it again and got it, But like this felt like, again, like the first episode of season 2 where like Wicket kind of accidentally becomes a hero. Like he has no idea if the power is going to get bounce back, but he's just really lucky.
Well,
so it's just like,
don't forget that he started the problem to begin with by accepting the gift from the stranger. When
he did,
when Nisa was like, "Don't take a gift from this creep," and Wicket's like, "I want a present, woohoo!" So it is kind of his fault.
Did you think it worked so well too when Latara, when he was just like, "Who would you have this old junk?" and like threw her necklace because she was like, "Wait a minute, that's mine." When they were hiding in the bushes, and he's like, "Junk." She's like, "Excuse me," and that like exposes them. Like I just thought that was perfect. Like that worked.
They're
totally would work.
That's at a point where they're
not the first time.
Right, they're spying on him, and she just can't. It's a very like Miss Piggy kind of moment. How dare you? That's
excuse me.
Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like. Yes, mine was some voice acting moments. There were two that were just nails on a chalkboard to me. One was maybe it was Shadu. I feel like it was Aunt Bozzy, who's like, my things have been stolen. It was like such an irritating voice and so over the top.
Yeah, it was so bad.
It was that, and then Tebow's laugh at the end, where they're like Tebow, and he's like, yeah. Hated it.
Yeah, that was.
I hated it.
They could do without that.
I hated it. Oh my god!
I'm glad you brought up that one, like, I don't know, 5 seconds of dialogue from her, because that was like, I was just like, oh
yeah.
I thought that was performed. I thought the last time her voice was performed by somebody else, but it must be Aunt Bozzy, right?
Yeah,
not their parent, not with
it is.
mom.
I think it was supposed to be Aunt Bozzy.
Not Shadu. But it's Aunt Bozzy. Yeah.
It's just one of those things where you're like, that's the take you went with. Okay, all right. Maybe would have tried it a few times, but okay, let's lock that in. Yep.
What about your Ichiwawa moment? What did you think was good?
I guess I kind of just liked the plan in general. Like, you poked some holes in it for me. But I'm sorry. No, it's okay. But I did like the concept of his way of sneaking into the villages. But I think you're right. The fact that he had to be in close proximity made it a little less cool. But I thought there was some cleverness to the episode, and that was one thing that I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I like it.
Yeah, he was sneaking up. He was kind of hiding from them, right? Yeah. So he was just listening to their conversation, and once he heard something like, well, I want to be the warrior so I can protect the village. Wicket said something like that. That's when he was like,
yeah, that's the one. That's where he's
the
like,
village, and so
he's like finding
very crafty, man. Yeah, so he was conning him.
We need to go back and look. I feel like in season 2, all of my Ichiwawa moments have been siding with the villains. So
man,
that's not great. What about you? What was yours?
So mine, if you remember Return of the Jedi, outside of Jabba's palace, there's that little like, and then like a frog, which is called a wart. I had to look it up. Uses its tongue and then eats it and then burps. They use that sound bite twice in this episode. Yep, as the sound of the creatures running and ransacking through the village. Oh. That exact sound bite, and I was like, oh, I recognize that. And it's from Return of the Jedi. I had to, because I thought, wait a minute, wasn't that in the special edition? So I had to go back and like do a little bit of digging. No, that was actually in the original.
Okay.
In the original theatrical version in 1983, but in the special edition, I think they touched it up.
Oh, sure.
Heavily. That scene got the whole like backdrop of Jabba's palace just was completely different. It ended up being from like orange to like this pink orange. So yeah, like George Lucas just randomly like rescaled things that he definitely should not have, and that was one of them. But the sound of that little like mouse or rat creature is used.
Well, that's
very cool. If anyone,
that is cool. I like that. I like a good callback like that. What do you think the moral lesson of this episode was?
I don't know. It kind of was. It was said at the very beginning by Nisa, right? With like, oh, we're not supposed to accept things from strangers.
Yeah.
And I get that, but like, I felt like that even missed the mark a little bit, where it's just like, well, I don't know. Like, it was a gift, right? It was kind of like, you gave me a drink and I'll give you this. So it's like, you don't want to like teach your kids to not accept things from people, but you don't have to like set it up in the middle of your town,
right?
Unguarded.
Yeah, well, that's
you could be like,
It wasn't a situation where like, he just rolled into town and he was like, I want to give you something. It was like he had a need. They helped him. And he gave them something as like, here, I appreciate the help that you gave me. So it's not quite the same as like, like a traditional like don't take candy from strangers, which you shouldn't do.
Yeah,
by the way,
which you shouldn't. Yep.
But I know I hear what you're saying.
That.
It doesn't quite land. It's not 100% because of the circumstances around it. Like, if you're already engaging with this stranger, like you've kind of already broken the no strangers rule. So
it's true.
To have a lesson like after that is kind of like whatever. All right. Well, how many?
I mean, I suppose. Oh, that's hard because I kind of like it, but I feel like I was around a 4, but I feel like I've given better episodes a 4, so I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'd say a 4.
Okay.
I think 4. Yeah.
I was going to go 3.5 just because there was just a little bit of clumsiness in there, so I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Yeah.
One of the better episodes of season 2 so far. I say that like we've watched a million. Yeah. We haven't, but it just feels like a million, and they're so starkly different from season 1, you know. So yeah, but I think 3.5 because I think the Rach was a really good episode and was deserving of
that was a great episode. Yeah, and here's the thing. I feel like we've been, you know, I guess talking down the shorter episodes, right? Like it's just not working, this and that. Like I feel like this one kind of worked for how short it was. It actually did. It worked. So it's like, oh, maybe a short episode works, and it just took them like, you know, 5-6 episodes to figure that out.
Yeah, I think this was the one time where maybe I'm wrong about that, but I feel like most of the short episodes have involved some outside force and them like going somewhere and having some adventure outside of the village or whatever. This was all very self-contained. It was just all in one spot. It happened over the course of like a couple of hours. You know what I mean? So like,
it was very short.
The scale is shorter, and it was sort of like designed, I feel like, for the short time frame. So yeah, I think it worked pretty well.
Yeah, that worked
pretty well.
Yeah.
So we'll see if the streak continues. Next time, when we're back on Endor, we're going to be here with Season 2, Episode 4B, A Gift for Shadu, with special guest Kendra Mickles from 9021. Here we go.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited for that.
I know. Always fun to have Kendra. Don't tell her that I said Crystal was my favorite guest.
Oh, okay, I won't.
Just keep that between you and me and Crystal. And Crystal. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
she definitely won't find out.
Yeah, I guess that's it. It's always when it's a fun, good episode. It's kind of a nice like load off. So yeah,
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like, hats off to you.
That's right. You did it.
We're back at it, man. We're back at it with the Ewoks.
All right, my friend. I'll see you next time.
See you next time. This Endorian Life was brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network. Other shows on the network include 90s Music Got Me Like, previously on X-Men, and 9021 Here We Go! Share your thoughts on this and upcoming episodes by following us on Facebook or Twitter at Endorian Life, and please rate, subscribe, and share this show wherever you get your podcasts.